Actually, it's now almost 14 years. So I started out as a painter, so I'm a painter my whole life. But then I took a course, actually a pottery course from Manny at Mission College, and I just, clay just talked to me. You know, it's just,
we know how that works. It sort of takes over.
Yeah, and then you start out with little things, and then bigger,
More and taller.
Yeah, I really,
yeah,
that's my.
that's great.
Yeah, so I really like big. Yeah, but it's a challenge all the time.
Yeah, sometimes when I go big, I'll have pieces this big, and then I start thinking about transportation issues. How do you solve the transportation issue?
Well, I have a big car, and then a lot of foam stuff, which I paddle. Yeah, so or all bedding, so comforter, this kind of stuff. Yeah, and now I tried one figure out. It's not that tall, but put it in section, and you can take it apart. So, but this is the first thing I did, and I have to develop to be more precise. So if you glue it together, it's easier.
Yeah.
So I make it as one piece, and then I cut it for the firing. But if you could take it apart and then put it together, and it's still stable, that's what I'm working on it now. Yeah. So, and I went a little bit right now into the water features, and we redid our backyard. It's not finished yet, but I have now a big area where I want to do a water feature as well. So, but it has to be really big, because the area.
Yeah, this is my working studio business location. Yeah.
Okay, you use this address.
Yeah.
We had a studio with another artist, a big one, but then she died, and we couldn't find another person which fit. It's not so easy to have someone who fits.
You have that right chemistry.
Yeah. So, and then my husband said, why don't you move in the garage and rebuild it for the needs? And this is why he is in our garage and called it his studio.
Thank you. Now everything clear.
Everything's clear. Okay, good. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
This is our studio, and so basically it's laid out that I use that end of the room, and Harriet does this end of the room, and this is all stuff that we share. So she does her sculpture work and hand building pieces here. I do the potter's wheel there, as you can see, and I formulate all the glazes.
Nice.
And I use them.
This sounds like a good system that you've worked out.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun if you could talk a little bit more about sharing studio space with another person, because it's a little bit different kind of model than we've seen.
Yeah. Well, basically,
it seems very intriguing.
Yeah. Basically, you just got to give each other space. Is the main thing. I mean, you're trying not to get in somebody else's way. So if Harriet's working on a piece, let's say when she's working on this piece, I basically try not to interrupt her.
And don't talk.
Yeah, don't talk. Yeah, don't ask questions.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's something important. But chit chat.
No,
we don't.
No, we don't talk a lot.
Yeah. We might take a break and have a glass of wine and do
Yeah,
some chit
or-
chatting like that.
Yeah.
Or coffee or something. Yeah.
Or sometimes if Manny has a problem, then he says, do you have a minute? And we discuss it. And then, he says, right, now I got it. Or the other way around. So it's actually really good, since you work alone, but still you have someone to talk about that. I can talk to my husband when he comes home, but not really of fire cycle processing, or what do I do with the clay. That's not an option. But with Manny I can. So, and this is the good thing.
Yeah.
I think for sharing the studio, and you divided the cost for it as well.
Yeah.
Your husband's a painter, is that what you said?
No, my husband is not a painter.
She's a painter.
I'm a painter.
Oh, yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah.
So my
You said
husband
he's
is an
working over there.
yeah, he's an engineer. He
Yeah.
sits on the computer.
Yeah.
Oh, he's engineering
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So what,
Like
what
solar
I'm,
panels.
yeah. So what I'm hearing is that the upside is that you get to really work as if it's your own studio, but you also get to have collegiality.
Yeah,
Which is
that's
which is
really
what
good.
those of us who work in our own studios are missing sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sense
and
of-
you get good feedback. You know,
Yeah.
there'll be times
Yeah.
when you know I'll be making a piece. I'll be really into it, and Harriet will walk by and say, "Another one of Grandma's old shapes, huh?" And then I'll stop and look at it and go, "Yeah, she's right." And fold it up and start again.
You know, sometimes you fall back in your old patterns.
Right.
So he tries to create since a while new designs for the vases. So you have to go with the market if you want to sell it. So, but sometimes I think, okay, this morning he said, I start now to come up with that new idea for the new series. And then I think, new series? He does the same thing. So, but it's the same with him. I make a piece and then he says, So, and you think, But, yeah, right,
Yeah.
So,
you know, we try to talk about what it is that we're seeing,
yeah,
you know, and so you get that immediate feedback.
Yeah. Before it's too late.
yes.
Yeah, you know,
yes.
before you sort of, you know, you invested into the piece, and then it becomes too precious.
Right.
You know, especially when you're doing sculpture pieces where it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of thought and a lot of,
Yeah.
you know, work involved, as opposed to, you know, say throwing a vase or a bowl or something like that. But yeah, the feedback helps a lot. So that's, I think, one of the best benefits.
Yeah.
And she's a gourmet cook. That always
So you
helps.
eat well when you come here
Yeah,
too.
I eat well, all right.
Well, also, her husband's an electrical engineer.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Tell him about your thing.
Oh, the solar panels, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, when we fire up the kilns, you know, we're pulling a lot of juice.
Right.
And they had, he figured out to get the solar panels installed to offset the cost of all the electricity we use up. So when we're firing them, the panels are producing electricity, but the kilns are using more than that. Okay? So when they're not being fired, like right now, the panels are producing electricity and it's selling them back to PG&E.
Right.
So their electrical bill starts to go down. So basically, he's figured it out to be almost like a zero use for electricity. So it costs hardly anything, or next to nothing, to fire the kilns.
Yeah. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Just the time.
Just the time.
Yeah.
Well, you have the initial expense, but then after that, it pays you back. And
Yeah, and we did not rent the panels. We bought them.
You bought them.
So we know exactly what it cost, because there are some plants you can rent them, and then on the end of the leasing contract you can buy them, but they cannot tell you yet what it will cost,
Right.
and you don't know if they then still function proper. So
Right.
yeah, he figured it out that we have almost no cost except for the investment in it, but we did it anyway.
Right. And you get a tax write-off for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
How long have you had them up?
3 years now.
so it works out really well.
And
Yeah.
What kind of exhaust do you have here?
It's over there. We have a little.
Envirovent?
Yeah.
So
It's okay.
it
It has a long
didn't.
run.
The one underneath didn't work for us for some reason. I think with the crystalline firing, it was, we couldn't use it in the way we can with that one
Is
over
there a little bit of a downdraft on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it pulls it, yeah, when you mount it underneath, it pulls the heat down, but also pulls it out.
Right.
So you end up with a longer time to reach your you know, desired temperature, and so you're using more electricity. And
But also with the time for holding. So
Yeah.
he would have rewrite all the programs which he has already accomplished. You know, with a
Right.
lot of experimental work on it. So because each glaze each color from the crystal glaze has different ingredients and also a different firing cycle. So
Right.
which is, if you have it already written down through all the years experimental stuff, so and then you have to redo it.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and you know, it still doesn't come out the way we want it sometimes, right?
Yeah. it
Like
is.
right now, this was kind of bad firing
Yeah.
what we had.
Yeah, you end up with bad firings, just for some reason, you don't know why, maybe there's a fluctuation in the amount of amperage coming through the kiln, or something like that.
Or the elements have
Or
to
the
be
elements
replaced.
are getting a little
Mhm.
old, or maybe, your switches are not working the way they should, they're aging a little
Yeah.
bit. All these little things play into it,
Oh, yeah.
Because the crystalline glazes are really temperamental. I mean, I don't, most people think, people who do crystalline glazes are a little bit nuts, because there's no consistency. Really.
That's the
That's-
excitement of it all.
Yeah.
So, I heard you were talking, but do you open the garage door when?
Yeah,
You're working.
so once in a while, not always. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like to stay, I like the garage door down, because I have a problem, I get distracted really
Yeah.
easily.
And the neighbors, they just like to come over and take a look, and and the kids and all that. So which is sometimes you don't want it, but sometimes we have the gate open. And since we have the retractable roof in the atrium, I do mostly my paintings in there. So
Spray booth.
Yeah.
It's great.
yeah, I mean it's a small studio, but we
Have everything.
fit a lot of things in it.
Compressors down there, and I put filters in it, and then there's a big industrial filter underneath the work table here to keep the, stuff out of the air. All right, this is a nice crystalline glaze piece now.
Right.
You compare that with the one in there,
Yeah,
And basically,
this one, which is
the same kiln, same firing cycle, same material,
Different shape.
different shape, but I've also done this on other shapes that are similar to this. Comes out like that.
Yeah, so, and he doesn't know what went wrong.
Yeah, something
Too many variables.
in the process is varying.
Yeah.
But how,
So now I have to then kind of analyze and work it.
yeah.
Could you
Second.
refire this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the-
then show how it comes out most of the time you refire.
Well, you think they're more needle-like,
And with the clay
More
top and
fine.
everything now,
Yeah. and they're everywhere.
It's pretty shiny.
Yeah.
It like glass.
Mhm.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's my table. And I don't like to bend so much because I have a back problem, and for me everything higher works. Like when I do my sculpture pieces, I work even higher than the table. And the slab roller has for me exactly the height that I don't have to put too much strength on my arms, my shoulders, and I can stay upright. I don't have to hunch over. That's, yeah, I think we decided that very early that he cannot work on my table and I cannot work on his table. And even when I do some work on the potter's wheel, I have to adjust the seat for my height.
About 30, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's original Shimpo. So it has a lot of miles on it.
But it still works. obviously.
It still works, yeah.
And it has this really nice feature. You can let it go on reverse, which works for me because I'm left-handed.
We originally had a Scott, and it worked pretty good. Got the glazes worked really well, but it was a bigger one, and I wanted one more for experiments, so I got a small. At the college I teach at, we have a couple of L&Ls as well as Scotts, and they fire really very consistently. And Harriet wanted to work on some bigger shapes, bigger forms, and so we.
Yeah, and this just
This
a kiln with only 4 corners works for my stuff much better than the one with the.
Circle.
Octagon, yeah.
Oh, the octagon, yeah.
So and I do a lot of wall pieces as well, and they have to be flat.
Perfect to have a square.
Perfect. So how easy it breaks and all that, and then the repair is easy. The elements you can change easier on this one.
One of the things I like about the L&L is the way the elements are held with that little extra piece in there.
They're more protected.
Yeah, because the little one, the elements pop out all the time.
And they have to, like needles, right?
Yeah, we have the pins, they work their way out. Yeah. And that happens on all the scuts. Doesn't matter what size you have.
Right.
It's just the design of the kiln. You're just kind of stuck with. The L&L I don't even bother with. Yeah.
Just sitting in the groove.
They just sit in the groove and do their thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Very well disciplined.
Yeah.
So if the both of you were starting all over again, what would you do differently?
I would not start with our old shelving. I would do some research on different shelvings. So some which you can adjust faster.
Since I use the spray booth a lot,
Yeah.
I would design it or set it up so that it had a more direct exit out to the atmosphere. Would redesign it, I think I'd probably put it close to a door, outside wall. But it works now fine with the extra boost of the air cleaner that we have underneath the table.